This story was crafted by our talented Revenge Tempest viewer Sophie R. If you trust in your writing skills and imagination, leave a comment below. We'd love to connect with you and explore your creative potential. When I arrived, they told the valet I wasn't expected. My mother-in-law gave me that same look, tight smile, no words. I wasn't seated with the family. I wasn't introduced. But when the music faded and the host stepped up, he started with my name. My name is Alina Petrov, a 32-year-old business strategist from Seattle, Washington, now navigating the icy terrain of my in-laws' disdain after marrying into their elite world. Growing up, I was the daughter of a single mother who worked as a nurse. My childhood spent in modest apartments, my ambitions dismissed as fanciful by those who valued pedigree over potential. My husband, James Carter, came from old money. His parents, Margaret and Robert Carter, ran a sprawling real estate empire in Bellevue. When we married 3 years ago, they tolerated me, their tight smiles and clipped greetings masking their belief that I had nothing to offer their dynasty. "Stay out of the way, dear," Margaret often said, her tone dripping with condescension, while Robert nodded, his silence an endorsement. My career began humbly. Internships in small tech firms, late nights coding logistics software, evolving into a silent ascent in the business world. Over the past decade, I built a company, Nexus Solutions, specializing in supply chain optimization, securing contracts with major corporations without fanfare. My work took me across continents, my laptop and a cup of coffee my constant companions, my success a secret I kept from James's family. They saw me as a homemaker, a shadow to their son, unaware of the boardrooms where I negotiated million-dollar deals. James knew, offering quiet support, but his loyalty to his parents kept him from challenging their narrative. I thrived in this duality, my professional life a fortress they couldn't breach, until an invitation arrived that would shift the ground beneath us. The invitation came 6 weeks ago, a gilded card from the Seattle Business Alliance announcing their annual gala, honoring industry leaders. My name was listed as a keynote speaker, a recognition of Nexus's innovative software that streamlined global shipping during a recent crisis. I kept it to myself, sensing the gala would be a stage to confront my in-laws' dismissal. The event loomed, and with it, a chance to reveal the power they'd overlooked. That night, I stood in our guest room, the invitation in hand, the rain outside a soft drum roll to my thoughts. Margaret had called earlier, her voice cool. "We expect you to dress appropriately and stay discreet." The contrast between her expectation and my reality fueled a quiet resolve. I prepared a presentation, my laptop humming with data, the gala a battlefield where I'd turn their silence into my victory. The day of the gala arrived, and the confrontation began at the Carter estate. I arrived in a sleek black dress, my confidence masked by their indifference. The valet, briefed by Margaret, hesitated, muttering, "You weren't expected, ma'am." Inside, the grand hall buzzed with chandeliers and tailored suits, but I was directed to a side table, away from the family's prominent seating. Margaret's tight smile greeted me, her eyes scanning my outfit with disapproval, while Robert ignored me, deep in conversation with a senator. James sat with them, his glance apologetic but silent. I wasn't introduced during the pre-dinner remarks, my absence from their circle deliberate. The slight stung, a reminder of their social class hierarchy, but I held my composure, my mind on the flash drive in my purse. Proof of my ownership of Nexus contracts worth billions and an award citation. 3 hours into the event, I slipped into a quiet corner, contacting Victor Hensley, my business partner and Nexus co-founder, who was attending as a guest. He confirmed the host, a former client, would honor our agreement to spotlight me. "They'll be shocked," he said, his voice amused. I reviewed the flash drive's contents: financial statements, client testimonials, a video of my keynote address recorded for the occasion, each a brick in the wall of my professional honneur. The rain softened outside, a hint of the calm before the storm. I rejoined the hall, my in-laws' laughter a distant hum, unaware that the table they'd relegated me to would soon be mine to command. The next day, I returned to the estate under pretense, accessing Margaret's study while she hosted a brunch. The room smelled of leather and privilege, her desk a fortress of control. I found a locked drawer, its key hidden under a silver frame, a habit I'd noticed during visits. Inside were letters from James's uncle hinting at their plan to sideline me from family assets, and a memo about managing my influence. Footsteps approached and I hid as Margaret entered, venting to Robert. "She's insignificant," she said. "Keep her out of the gala's spotlight." I escaped unnoticed, the documents a confirmation of their intent, my resolve stealing. This wasn't about noise, it was about power, and I held the evidence to shift the roles. That evening I met Victor at a cafe sharing the findings. His eyes widened. "They're threatened by you," he said. "Use the gala to expose it." He suggested amplifying the keynote with the letters, a move to turn their dismissal into my triumph. The rain outside mirrored my determination, the gala now a stage to remind them of whose table they truly sat at, step by step building a future where my worth was undeniable. The soft patter of rain against the guest room window framed my reflection as I sat at the small desk. The flash drive from Nexus Solutions and the pilfered letters from Margaret's study spread across the polished wood. Alina Petrov, once dismissed by her in-laws as a social outsider from a modest background, now held the key to a professional empire they'd never acknowledged. The financial statements, client testimonials, and keynote video, contrasting Margaret and Robert's efforts to sideline me, promised a reckoning, a fight to claim the respect my decade-long career had earned in the shadows. The memo hinting at a family plot, the PR firm contract, and the gala invitation pointed to a deeper struggle, a silent war to assert my rightful place at the table. Victor Hensley, my business partner and co-founder of Nexus, was my ally, his strategic insight and corporate acumen guiding me through this personal and professional battlefield, his support a steady anchor amidst the rising tension. Victor arrived that afternoon, his briefcase clicking open to reveal market analyses, a portable projector, a legal pad, and a thermos of black coffee. He reviewed the flash drive's contents with a businessman's precision, his brow lifting with each file as he scrolled through the data. "These numbers are staggering. Nexus's software saved billions in logistics costs last year, streamlining operations during that port strike," he said, his voice low and deliberate. "The testimonials from CEOs like Laura Bennett of Global Freight back your leadership. And that keynote video recorded at the Tech Summit seals your credibility. Margaret's letters show they plan to cut you out of Carter family assets, likely fearing your growing influence would overshadow their control. The gala's your chance to flip the script and expose their hypocrisy." My chest tightened as the scope became clear. Margaret's opulent dinners with crystal chandeliers, Robert's private jets whisking them to exotic retreats, the estate's recent expansion, all built on a legacy they tried to deny me access to. Victor pointed to a letter from James's uncle dated 6 months ago. "Keep Alina in the shadows. Her success threatens our dynastic stability." The calculated exclusion, etched in ink, fueled my resolve, sparking a quiet determination to turn their scheme against them with precision. This was about reclaiming my identity, not just a seat at their polished table, but the power and recognition they'd consistently overlooked. We devised a plan to amplify the revelation, targeting the gala as the ultimate stage and gathering more evidence to solidify my position. That night, I returned to the Carter estate during a family meeting convened to discuss their latest real estate acquisition, Victor staging a distraction by triggering a minor alarm glitch in the security system with a discreet device. The guests' startled reactions, the sudden blare of the alarm, and Margaret's sharp commands to the staff gave me the cover I needed as I slipped into Robert's office, its oak-paneled walls a shrine to their dominance, adorned with framed deeds and family portraits. I found a locked cabinet tucked behind a velvet curtain, its key hidden under a family crest plaque, a detail I'd noted during a past awkward visit when I'd lingered too long admiring the decor. Inside were more letters plotting my exclusion from family decisions, a detailed contract with a PR firm to manage my public image with negative spins, a draft will amendment removing me from Carter Holdings, and a recorded conference call between Margaret and the firm outlining their strategy. Discredit her achievements, play up her modest roots and early job rejections to undermine her. My heart raced as I copied the data onto a second flash drive, the risk of discovery amplifying the stakes, the murmur of voices and clinking glasses outside a surreal contrast to the intensity of my covert mission. Footsteps approached, heavy and deliberate, and I ducked behind a leather armchair as Robert entered, his voice gruff and authoritative. "She's getting too close to the truth," he said to Margaret over the phone, his tone laced with irritation. "Leak her early struggles. paint her as an opportunist who married into money. The gala must reinforce our narrative and keep her in her place. Margaret replied, her voice cool and calculated. James will keep her quiet if needed. Remind him of his duty to the family. I held my breath, the conversation solidifying their collusion and James's reluctant complicity, and slipped out through a side door, the flash drive secure in my purse, my resolve hardening into an unshakable steel. The next day, I met a corporate lawyer, Emily Tran, recommended by Victor, in a sleek downtown office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay. She reviewed the evidence with a forensic eye, her fingers tracing the contract's fine print. This is defamation and potential fraud, she said, her voice firm. The will amendment's invalid without your consent, and the PR strategy violates ethics laws. We can challenge their control and seek damages with this. I presented the findings to Victor, who coordinated with the gala host, a former Nexus client, Daniel Ortiz, at a discreet lunch meeting. Ortiz confirmed the plan with a nod. I'll introduce you as owner and play your video, let the shock do the work. He warned, they'll counter with personal attacks, your background, your marriage, be ready to stand firm. Margaret's retaliation was swift and cutting. Tabloids ran stories, in-laws rise a fluke of marriage, with fabricated tales of my early job rejections at tech startups, my mother's nursing career framed as a liability, my modest upbringing exaggerated, all sourced from an insider likely tied to the PR firm. My phone buzzed incessantly with snide comments and mocking messages, my past laid bare for public judgment, the sting amplified by the familiarity of their attacks echoing my in-laws' initial dismissal. Victor issued a cease and desist letter to the outlets, demanding retractions and threatening legal action, but the psychological pressure mounted, a relentless siege that tested my endurance. I found solace with Dr. Nadia Kim, a therapist and friend from my startup days who had guided me through early burnout, who met me at a quiet cafe with soft jazz playing in the background. This is their fear surfacing, she said, her voice calm amid the clatter of cups. Your silence is your strength. Let their noise collapse under its own weight. Her support steadied me, a reminder of the resilience I'd built, and we contacted former colleagues, CEO Lisa Chen from Global Tech, engineer Mark Ruiz from Nexus's early team, via secure calls. Their praise of my innovative algorithms, my leadership in crisis management, bolstered my credibility, each voice a cornerstone of my defense against the smear campaign. The tension peaked when Margaret confronted me at the estate, her lawyer looming beside her with a stack of papers, his briefcase a symbol of their arrogance. Stay out of the gala or we'll expose every flaw, your injury, your mental state, all on display, she demanded, slamming a non-disclosure agreement on the mahogany table. I refused, my fingers tightening around the flash drive, its edges worn from constant handling. You can't hide the truth of my work, I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands, a single sentence that carried the weight of my resolve. She snatched the paper back and stormed out, her heels clicking a sharp retreat, but not before a burner phone slipped from her lawyer's coat, clattering to the polished floor. I retrieved it, a concrete link to their scheme, its screen flashing with recent calls to the PR firm. Victor traced its number to the firm's lead consultant, confirming their conspiracy extended beyond family to a professional operation. With Dr. Kim's encouragement, I organized a clandestine rally for colleague support via a video conference. Their recorded endorsements, stories of my late-night coding marathons, my negotiation of a critical contract, strengthening my case. The fight was strategic, a reclaiming of my erased worth through evidence and professional stature, not emotional outburst. That night, I prepared the presentation in the guest room, the rain outside a steady drum to my planning, its rhythm mirroring my heartbeat. The guest room, a temporary base with its crisp linens and borrowed furniture, felt like a command center, its simplicity a stark contrast to the Carter estate's grandeur. Victor's strategy included the gala reveal, a formal claim to my professional recognition and preparation for the public climax, but the threat of Margaret's allies, the PR firm Robert's influence, possibly James's wavering loyalty, loomed large, a shadow over my impending triumph. I finalized the flash drive, its contents now enriched with the cabinet's revelations, my weapon in this silent war. I wore a discreet pin from my first contract, a small silver piece engraved with Nexus's logo, a talisman of my past struggles and successes as I readied myself to face the gala. The betrayal had tested me, exposing vulnerabilities I'd buried beneath my professional facade, but it also forged a new identity. Leader, owner, victor. The next step was clear. Shine at the gala and remind them whose table they truly sat at, step by step, building a future where my worth was undeniable and their dismissal irrelevant. The rain softened outside, a whisper of the calm before the public storm. The rain tapped a gentle rhythm against the guest room window as I stood before the full-length mirror, the flash drive in my hand, its weight a symbol of the power I was about to wield. Alina Petrov, once relegated to the shadows by her in-laws, had transformed a decade of silent success into a legacy ready to claim its spotlight. The evidence, Victor Lang's PR firm call, the forged will amendment, colleague testimonials, had set the stage for a public confrontation, while the burner phone's link to a corporate network hinted at a broader scheme. Margaret and Robert's dismissal had scarred me, but it had also forged an unyielding determination. This was no longer just about proving my worth. It was about dismantling their narrative, restoring my honor with the precision of a calculated strike. The next morning, I met Emily, Tran, and Victor at the gala venue, a grand ballroom adorned with crystal chandeliers, the air thick with anticipation. Tran reviewed the evidence, her fingers pausing on the recorded call timestamp. "This is airtight," she said, her voice firm. "The PR firm's strategy, the invalid will amendment, the financial data. It's fraud and defamation. The corporate network suggests deeper ties, but your flash drive will shatter their facade." She outlined a strategy. Present my ownership during the introduction, subpoena the PR firm if needed, and use the gala to expose their plot publicly. "They'll attack your background, your roots, your marriage," she warned. "Stay composed." The thought of my modest upbringing and James's family ties dissected before the elite sent a chill through me, but Victor clasped my shoulder. "Your achievements will silence them," he said. With Dr. Kim's counsel, we refined my demeanor, framing my rise as a testament to perseverance, a narrative uplifting overlooked professionals like me. The gala day arrived, a crucible of quiet strategy and impending triumph. Dr. Kim coached me tirelessly, her sessions blending emotional resilience with public poise. "They'll push for embarrassment," she said. "Respond with dignity." I rehearsed my brief response, the flash drive's contents, financials, video, testimonials, each a shield against their attacks. The ballroom buzzed with Seattle's elite, Margaret in a shimmering gown, her smile a mask of control, Robert beside her, his posture commanding. James sat with them, his glance nervous but supportive. I stood near the back, my black dress understated yet confident, my voice steady as the music faded. The host, Daniel Ortiz, stepped to the podium, his voice resonating. "Tonight we honor Alina Petrov, owner of Nexus Solutions, whose innovations transformed global logistics." The room stilled, heads turning, Margaret's smile vanishing as my image flashed on the screen. CEO awards, contract signings, a video of my keynote. The evidence played, my success a silent explosion. The turning point came when Ortiz invited questions. Margaret rose, her voice trembling. "This is a fabrication. Alina married into privilege," she said. I stepped forward, handing Tran the flash drive. "The truth is in the data," I said, my tone calm. The screen shifted to the PR firm call, Lang's voice plotting my discredit, followed by bank records showing Carter funds tied to the scheme. The audience gasped, Robert's face paling, James staring in shock. Tran announced a lawsuit, the corporate network's involvement surfacing. My single sentence, "Remember whose table you sit at," hung in the air, unraveling their authority. The gala shifted, my ownership undeniable, Margaret and Robert retreating as whispers spread. The aftermath was a swift realignment. The Carter estate's influence waned as the lawsuit progressed, their PR firm dissolving under scrutiny. I transformed my success into Petrov Hub, a mentorship center in Seattle, its offices hosting startup training and veteran transitions. Dr. Kim led counseling, Victor managed operations, and I oversaw it, my identity as leader and innovator solidifying. The opening day drew a crowd, entrepreneurs, veterans, a news crew, celebrating resilience. I spoke. "This is for those overlooked, for my mother, for a future built on merit." Applause washed over me, a tide of recognition healing old wounds. Alone that night, I explored the Hub's storage, finding my first business card and a letter from my mother. Inside was a photo of us at my graduation, a note. "Alina, your drive is your legacy. They'll see it." The loss of her early struggles was replaced by pride, tears falling as I traced her words. I displayed it as a tribute. Margaret wrote from their legal counsel a shaky apology. "We misjudged. Can we reconcile?" The gesture surprised me, and though the past couldn't be erased, I sent a reply offering a cautious dialogue. Reconciliation, a fragile hope. The Hub thrived, uniting communities, startups with mentors, families with innovators. The corporate network faded, Lang's testimony unraveling their operations. I hired security wary of backlash, but peace grew. One afternoon, sorting files, I found my old laptop, proof of the code that started Nexus. It hung in the Hub, a symbol of transformation. The rain softened outside, a sign of calm as I planned Petrov Rise, a fund for first-generation entrepreneurs. My journey from outcast to owner forged a new identity, and with my allies I turned their dismissal into triumph step by step, building a life of purpose and justice. This story was brought to life by our amazing community. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to Revenge Tempest, and drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you.